Namaste, Mukundji.
Namaste. Namaste.
I welcome you, and I'm really fan of your channel, The Beautiful Tree,
Thank you
right?
so much. Yes.
So, and in fact, there's one video which caught my attention where you speak both French and Sanskrit.
Yes.
I mean, it was a response to a comment. So
Yes.
that kind of caught my attention, and I messaged you for a session, for a Zoom interview. So thank you for accepting.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you so
Mukunji,
much. Yes.
yeah. So just tell us about your journey and what about your background and journey.
Hmm. So I'm from Calcutta. I was born in Calcutta. Both my parents, they are from the earlier East Pakistan. So they came here right around the partition of the country. So
Wow.
since then, they have been living. So I mean, we are a family of, we are basically East Bengalis, as we call it. So
Okay.
yeah, both my mother and father, like I mean, their parents, my grandparents from both maternal and paternal sides, they came to India during or right before partition, and then we settled in Calcutta. And my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, he was a priest back there. So there used to be a province called Bikrampur, which is near Dhaka. I think the name is changed now. And so he was a priest there. And my maternal grandfather rather, he was a Jyotisha. So
Okay.
so these are the like, two families who come to India, and then we settle in India after that. And then it was my father, and then my grandfather. We had like five children. Each of them had five children, and then we are like the third generation refugees as such in
So
India.
is your family practicing in India also, like the karma kanda part?
Yeah, like the it's pretty much the same, not very different from a few differences here and there. But the
Okay.
Eastern and the West Bengalis, especially Brahmins, they share the same practices.
Okay.
So yeah, not very different. So everything came when, yeah, and then when I was born back in 1992, um, so I'm like pretty old actually, 32, and right now I live in Japan. I'm doing my PhD. Um, yeah, if you ask me some more question, I'll be.
So okay, which subject you're doing PhD?
So my major was biophysics. My
Okay.
master's was my second master's was in biophysics, and right now my basically I try to look at neuroscience and how morphogenesis takes place, and then we try to understand what are the roles of mechanical forces in giving shape to a developing tissue. So, for example,
Wow.
imagine like the spinal cord. So the spinal cord develops from uh, a flat tissue, which is called an epithelium, neural epithelium. So what happens is like this flat tissue, there's a fold that is introduced, on its own. And then what happens basically, so this flat sheet of tissue, once you kind of apply force on the edges, it will fold on its own. And well, there's a crease here. If there hadn't been a crease, it would make a tube, right? So this is how the basically the neural tube forms. So
Okay.
this mechanical force, where does it arise from? I mean, here I am basically pushing it on with my own hands, but in the tissue on its own, how does it arise? And how come different forces can make different shapes of tissues? So, for example, my particular area of interest is understanding the morphogenesis of the lens. So the lens is pretty much an ellipsoid or a spherical tissue. So here the patterns of force generation would not be as straightforward as just pushing it on both the edges.
Okay.
So for a parallel, I can give you, imagine there's a football and I ask you to wrap it with a paper. So of course it's a geometrical challenge, right? Because you're asking a 2D shape to become a very complicated 3D shape. So that is basically the journey of a lens. It's becoming from a flat surface of tissues. Now it has to suddenly become this ball of tissues and ball of cells and also transmit light along with it. So that is my PhD topic. Basically, I map mechanical forces within the tissue and I see where do these forces arise and why this particular shape.
But this is a pretty complex topic you got, like research topic.
Yeah, well, Uh, a lot of the credit goes to my PI. He kind of asked me, he dared me to take this topic up, and he
Nice.
knew I had a biophysics background, so he thought it might be more suitable for me than to do a lot of genetic or molecular biology works that goes out in the lab.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my PI himself, he's actually trained in physics, but he
Okay.
did his PhD in biology, like pure molecular biology, and mine is just the opposite, the reverse. So I am trained in biophysics, but I joined a molecular biology lab. So perhaps he knew the challenges I may have to face if I just completely switch genre. So he asked me
Nice.
to rather take something which is of more of your caliber, but there are challenges also because everybody in the lab, they do molecular biology, so not a lot of, it's not easy to get a lot of feedback on the work. So you will be pretty much on your own.
Okay. So you clearly seem to be multifaceted because how much I know about you. So you are into Sanskrit and you are into Sri Vidya and also you are into classical, singing and also some Bharatanatyam kind of thing. So just let's go step by step. So how did Sanskrit happen?
How did it happen? I can, well, if I have to maybe pinpoint a initiation, I remember watching this beautiful woman and she was singing and she looked just like my mother and a huge pottu on the forehead and, just completely covered in sari. And then she's singing and she was singing in Chase Sanskritam. And I was like, who's this person and why, who sings in Sanskritam, first of all? Who? And I was, I think, maybe barely 5 or 6 years old. And lo and behold, it was MSM. So that
Okay.
was really, I think, that moment is a very strong flash in my memory that I have, that I was impressed of Sanskritam. And other than that, I never studied it formally till
Okay.
after my joining my PhD. Here and there, my Yagnopavidam was done very early,
Okay.
which was around when I was, I think, 6 or 7. So,
Wow.
because my mother was very keen on sending me to Kashi and because like there was a legacy of my grandfather, and he was a very learned Brahmin in the
Okay.
area. So, and later on, my father or his brothers, his siblings, they could not continue that tradition anymore. So my mother was quite worried that because what she was aware of my grandfather even before she was married, because her sister was married to my father's elder father.
Okay.
So both the daughters are married to the
Brothers.
to the brothers of another
Two
family.
brothers of other house. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So, and maybe it's just like she was really impressed by my grandfather.
But did you go to Kashi? Really?
No, no, no. I could
It
not
was a
continue
plan.
that. It
But
was in her mind. It was in her
okay.
mind, but it never worked out. But after my Yagnopavitam, what happened is in the neighborhood, like in Calcutta. So I started Paurohityam, like at 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, that boy. So I used to go to
Wow.
houses and do puja for them. And it was like a little pocket money, which entirely
So,
went
but
to
you
my
were
mother.
trained under your grandfather, right?
No, 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 no. At that time, my mother's maternal family, they are also Brahmin. Like they also do Paurahityam.
Okay.
So my mama trained me. My mama and
Okay. Okay.
my cousin,
Nice.
they kind of trained. Well, they we just practiced together a little bit, and
Okay.
people were very kind with me since I was just a 6, 7 year old boy.
Okay.
And there's really a scarcity of Brahmins in Calcutta, especially who do Karmakanda. So I think it was like a informal introduction to like reading of Sanskritam or maybe understanding small little words, what exactly, small little phrases. But in school, I didn't have Sanskritam at all. Um, Before I started my formal training in Sanskritam, Carnatic music happened. So a lot of the Sahityam in Carnatic is in Sanskritam. So
Yeah.
that was really a very nice, comfortable stepping stone for me to understand how basic sentences are formed whatsoever. And once you have knowledge of the language, you will, enjoy the mode of musicality a bit more, I feel,
Certainly.
just
Yeah.
other than just blabbering the words. So that was very helpful for me. And also there was dance. Also, the in dance also we had a lot. So I am trained in Odissi. So a
Okay.
big portion of Odissi is to dance to Gita Govindam of Jayadeva, and that is
Okay.
one of the most beautiful poetic chaste Sanskritam that our country has produced. So much so that his praise is, so he was maybe born in Odisha in a little village near, which is now between the border of Odisha and West Bengal. But back in 17th century, there is a little village in Uttakad, in Tanjavur, called Uttakad, and there is born another musical genius, and he writes on the genius of Jayadeva, who's probably thousands of kilometers away, but and they are separated in time and space, both of them. But yet he sings on Jayadeva. So much was his the prowess of his Sanskrita Sahityam. Padmavati Ramanam, I think the song is called. So that was another kind of a very nice cushion for me to dabble into Sanskrit without any pressure that, oh, you have to, there's an exam or something. In my school, my third language was Hindi. And
Okay.
yeah, my mother is actually very good with languages. So she taught me Hindi, she taught me Odia. And then since we were from both our families, paternal and maternal families are from Eastern Bengal. So the dialect of Bengali is very different. It's like, Chennai Tamil and Palakkad Tamil. So
Okay.
it's like that. So I could see my mother. She would speak with her, like my grandmother. She would switch between us and the grandmother just like that. She will speak very respectfully with the grandmother in that East Bengali accent, and then switch to us or to the neighbor next door. She will have the Calcutta accent, and she was very apt with that. So that was very impressive growing up to see this comfort with different languages. And then she grew up with Odias. She spoke Odias very well. And then she
Okay.
came after her marriage. And our neighbors had a lot of Bihari neighbors, so they spoke in Bhojpuri. So she picked up Bhojpuri as well very quickly. So that is like one of her gifts that, I mean, it was very, very impressive all the time. And then after I joined my PhD, 2017. Soon after that, my father passed away.
Okay. Sorry.
So after that, I went. So that was I was visiting home almost after 2 years. Before that, I had left for my masters. So I finished my masters in Calcutta in 2015, and then I joined my second masters, the masters in biophysics, which was in France. So I went there and I finished. After doing my master's in France, I came directly to Japan for my PhD. So I didn't have any time in between to visit home. So that was like quite a travesty for me to like miss my father's last rites. So that was like a lot of I had a guilt within me that I mean the circumstances were not that good. Anyways, so I think 15 days after my father passed away, I returned and we did the Shraddha and Prayashchitam, everything. And then I went back to Japan. And after that, there was a long gap. For 4 years, I couldn't come back home because, of course, I had just visited and then came COVID. So during COVID, I think I was going through a lot of I don't know, maybe inner transformation. And I think that emotional growth and the spiritual growth was kind of a yearning for some rooting. So after COVID, I came back to in home just to visit. But what happened after that? The borders of Japan closed. So I was stuck in India and my PhD halted. So one good thing about my university here is there is something called a non-study leave. So if these kind of situations appear, then a student is allowed to take a non-study leave for as long as 2 years. So I
Okay.
applied for that. So basically, my PhD just froze at my fourth year timeline. So from 2021 to 2023, I was in India. And this is the time when my formal training in Sanskritam began with Samskrita
Okay.
Bharati.
So
So
how did you approach this the subject and your guru, or please explain about how you started this Sanskrit journey,
mm,
like how it happened, like online or offline or whatever.
it
How?
was offline. Before I joined Samskrita Bharati, I was already in. So there's an app called Clubhouse. It was quite a thing.
Okay.
It is obsolete now. Nobody uses it anymore. But it came right before COVID and 2020, 2021, and I made a lot of friends there from India, and a lot of them were Sanskritam enthusiasts. And in Clubhouse, what happens? You can have groups and houses where they used to just practice speaking in Sanskritam. So I made a lot of Sanskritam speaking friends through Clubhouse who were based in India or Singapore, whatever. So when I came back to India, what happened? I had this kind of a guilt still, that I missed my father's last rites as a son,
Okay.
as the only son. So we were advised to do a pilgrimage of sorts, maybe just to curb as a prashchitam. So my mother and I, we went for like 6 months of pilgrimage because in India it was still open, even though Japan was closed. And after about 6 months of traveling here and there, I thought, okay, let me just come back to see if I can come back and join my PhD. But the borders were still closed. So I was quite bored during that time. So I applied for a job actually while staying in India. And it was like some corporate job I applied and I got it, some curriculum design. And after that, I was asked to move to Chennai. Actually, I asked if I could move back to Chennai. Before that, I was living in Chennai already. I was living in Chidambaram actually before I applied
Okay.
for the job. So I was living in
How you
Chidambaram.
landed up in Chidambaram?
Also, from Clubhouse, I made a Dikshitar friend. So
Okay.
he invited me to come to Chidambaram and see the temple and maybe live there. So they have like an agraharam near Chidambaram. It's called Ananda Tandapapuram. So that is the village from where the great musician Gopal Krishna Bharati emerged. So in that agraharam, I used to live with the Goshala and everything. It was a great time. Right after that, I applied for the job because I was getting very bored actually, because the village is quite lonely and not many people live there. So I was quite bored and I applied for a job. And after joining the job that I applied for, I came back to Chennai with a transfer. And that is when I started looking for these people that I had earlier spoken with and see if there are classes available. And that's when one of my seniors from Samskrita Bharati, she suggested that I could ask, she gave me a contact and see if they have classes. And, Samskrita Bharati has this 10-day long Sambhashana Shibiram. So
Yeah.
2 hours every day. So that is when me, my sister was also with us during the
Okay.
Chennai trip. So both of us, we went and we did the 10-day long Samskrita Sambhashana Shibiram, and then we joined the Samskrita. So on the 10th day, they will tell you, this is like just a stepping stone, and after this, we have Pravesha, Parichaya, Shiksha, Kovida. So you should do all of them. So subsequently from that, I think 2022 February, I started I got admitted into Samskrita Bharati formally, and that's where my Sanskritam basically started.
So you completed all the levels?
I finished Kovida this September, yes.
Wow. So that's great to know. And see, many people do this, but to create this channel, a beautiful tree, and the way you approach it and how you present it, it's just amazing. So how did you get this idea to start, and your innovation in like to mix this French and Sanskrit and to do this kind of a mix up. So just tell us about that.
I just wanted to do something because it started back in June this year, and I was at the brink of collapsing with the pressure and the impossibilities of my PhD. So I thought, I just really have to do something else because I cannot be looking into the computer and analyzing data and be frustrated and put everything on my mother on the phone. This cannot go on this endless loop. So I thought let's just take a break and not take a break, but let's see what else how I can cycle this. So then I started. Okay, I have this kind of a skill, and see if I can make it a bit more relatable with people, and see if I can build a mm, if I can see like if there are like-minded people like me who are interested in Sanskritam. So then this a beautiful tree happened. The beautiful tree is actually a book title. It's a book
Okay.
title by Sri Dharampal. So in that book, it's called The Beautiful Tree. So there it's basically a report of the surveys that took place during British Raj, before the British education was imposed all over India. So it has the survey reports from both the Madras presidency and the Bengal presidency. So so basically the British, which was done by, I think, Sir Munro. So he sent his delegates to every village, every district in Madras and Bengal presidency, and then they recorded how many number of Gurukulas are there, what are the number of Brahmins, what are the number of Shudras, what are the number of Vaishyas, what are the number of other castes, what are they reading in those villages, okay, how many of them pass, what is the salary of the teacher who's teaching. So he then and that those and all those reports of these two presidencies were compiled in a book called The Beautiful Tree. And
Okay.
I reading through that book, it just it was like, for me, like, oh wow, this is what we have lost, you know, to colonization. That is what it does. So basically, that book is a strict reminder of something that is called, I think, um, you're not just colonizing people and looting their wealth or taxing them heavily, but you're basically taking away their this living knowledge system that they have. You know, it's just completely stripping them off and later repackaging something that you want them to be enslaved with. And just with a lot of PR, you have this English education system. And so I think The Beautiful Tree, the book itself, is a great reminder for us, if what you have lost, and also kind of gives you a way if you want to start something in India, of really shedding colonized shells. I think that book is quite amazing. So I was so that book was really kind of a, it always stayed with me. So I thought, let me just take inspiration from this book and start A Beautiful Tree. So basically, what I try to do is everyday education, basically school education, had it been in Sanskrit. You know, so how would the children learn names of colors, numbers? How do you do simple sums in Sanskritam? It's not that difficult. And um, one of the skills that helped me with creating this channel was the teachers training program from Samskrita Bharati. So during my
Okay.
first course in Pravesha, my teacher Usha Sampadmata, um, she suggested that I join another 10-day course for teachers of Samskrita Bharati, so that you can basically take this 10-day long Samskrita Sambhashana Shibirams on your own, and you can employ more students and basically teach people how to speak in everyday spoken Sanskritam. So I was not very sure what exactly she meant, but I couldn't say, I don't have the gumption to say no to her. So I just, yeah, sure, I will go. So I went there. It was in Pondicherry, um, and I was really shocked to go there. And we used to spend from 5 in the morning till 10 at night. The entire time it was activities, 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 everything in Sanskrit, everything in Sanskritam. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you are a Shastri or you are a the Vedant. I mean, it doesn't matter what is your qualification. If you have to ask for food, you have to say this in Sanskritam. So there are 10 days of mental drilling that really gave me a lot of comfort with the language. That even if you speak with a lot of mistakes in the grammar part, not to worry about it. The idea is not to make everybody a Panini, but rather to get a level of comfort with the masses, that this is not so alien as you think, and it's not that difficult as you think. So once you're trained in that shibiram and you go back to take your own shibiram, it you will see, like, some days you are not going to be prepared to teach your pupils, but that it's a mental exercise that goes on during during those 10 days, that
Yeah.
it's like you can take anything, doesn't matter what the day may present with you. So that level of comfort and confidence was another ingredient for me, that okay, let's just I'm ready to put in the effort, and rest, Narayan is there. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So
So your channel, I see your videos. I'm sure that your goal is met because your videos are so presentable and so like beginner friendly, I would say. And you make it, that tone is like very aram. Say you go in and without any pressure. See, generally people who know something or they have studied something, it's very important to present it also properly. Otherwise, it'll just go above the head.
hmm,
So you make it very presentable, and also your editing is so nice that
thank
you
you.
you have these numbers when you're talking about numbers. You have this. being displayed. I think even a small child, like 6-year-old, can just pick it up by watching your videos. So that's what I really appreciate about your videos. So I think any French guy who sees your French kind of video will pick up Sanskrit, just by correlating, right?
Hopefully, yeah. For
Yeah.
the French video, I don't I speak a bit of French because I did my masters in France. So
Yeah.
there it was. I mean, the course was in English, but outside university, it was imperative that you learn at least some French. So during when I was read, so when you learn French, some easy books are given to you. Like it's like storybooks only for kids, and that's how you basically learn the language and how to do the conjugations, basic grammar and stuff like that. And then I came across in their archive they had a lot of translations of Indian Sanskritam text in
Okay.
my French university archive. And of course, later it is digitized also. So I started. So they had the Sanskritam text and the French translation. What happened is during that when the British East India Company came to India, during that time also French East India Company was trying to get a hold of get a taste of Indian colony in their hands, and so did the Dutch. So when the French came, a lot of the padres who came to kind of do some missionary work. But by that time, I think the French Revolution had already happened. Okay, so
Okay.
they were not as vicious as the British missionaries. So in their translation, you can actually see, they have a lot of reverence for the bhava with which Jayadeva writes the Gita Govindam, and they try to kind of give a better representation of the lyricism and the poetry in Gita Govindam rather than just plain. Oh, this is what the phrase means basically. Krishna met
Okay.
Radha, then Radha went there. Not like that, but they make an effort to bring the poetry in French as well. I think maybe it's maybe a property of the French of themselves that they like to be poetic whenever they do something. So that is when I found this text, and I think there was some of these kind of not missionaries but kind of philanthropists, French philanthropists. They did some of these translation work. So I thought I saw some dumb comment, and I thought, let me have some fun while I'm at it. So that's how that video came.
Nice, nice. So just to add a point that actual, the colonization, the actual motive, the most of the motive is mainly religious. The English is Protestant and the others are Catholics. So the actual fight is Catholic versus Protestant. Like even now, you see Russia versus US, or Europe versus England. So the one country. So the English is a Protestant thing. So even then, the whole agenda. So I think there's one series, in Japanese also, Shogun. Have you watched
Shogun,
it?
yes, yes, yes,
Shogun.
yes,
So
yes.
Shogun makes, they bring out the truth that, the actual fight is between the two faiths. So Catholic was the first one to conquer, that Portuguese, that, and French, etc. And then English just walked behind and said, no, we are the true religion and we are the missionaries, etc. So,
Yes. Yeah, the British are
yeah.
known for their misdoings. Yeah, and I think the British East India Company, they themselves were like the original Protestants, and they wanted to detach themselves from basically, that Henry VIII,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
Henry VIII.
the first loony, and then he wanted to have his own Church of England, which he did, and then
Yeah.
from there, this entire Protestantism started, and then you see this the most fanatic religious people of England. They do this, journey of Mayflower back to the US, and they are settled now in the the Western, and that is where you find the craziest Protestantism, or every loony bit that originated in the in the UK or in the British Empire. They are now in the Midwest
US.
of America.
And this whole evangelism also is a part of Protestants, right?
Evangelism itself in its own, I think, is a Christian thing. Like all Christians are supposed to evangelize. Yeah,
Okay.
but with the Catholics, they're a bit more purist. They like to retain their imagery and icon. I mean, there's another thing about Catholic, in Christianity in general. Their icons are icons, other icons are idols. That's very
Okay.
yeah. So they like to be quite strict with that. But the Protestants, like, oh, you have this idol. This idol is actually nothing but Jesus only. Just remove Shri Krishnaya Namaha, put Yashasaya Namaha. and you're done with it. So
Okay. So what
yeah,
is this Eastern Christianity and how different is this? What is it all about? So because you have this exposure, multi-country exposures, like you are in India and then you went to France and then you are in Japan. So what is the Eastern Christianity? Do you have any idea about that?
you mean Eastern European Christianity? Is that right?
Yeah, they say this is a Saint Thomas, Eastern Christianity, and then like
I'm not very aware of that. But what
okay,
you
okay,
know is just a basic idea that you have the Protestants, which are basically the Protestants. They are protesting to the Catholic Church
yeah,
hegemony,
Pope,
and
yeah,
that's you have. That's why you have these Protestants. They
yeah,
wanted to have their own. It was basically the first leftists. They are the
yeah,
origin of the first leftists, as we call it,
yes,
Vitandinaha. Whatever you
yeah.
say, I will oppose, and I will reinterpret it on my own way.
Yeah. No, the reason I'm saying is there's a story that this at first BC or some time there's a saint called Saint Thomas. So he came to Kerala first,
Mm-mm.
and then by that time Catholicism was not discovered yet, was not formed. Formally, the Bible and all what you see today was not there when Saint Thomas came to India. So that type of Christianity is a totally different. They call them Syrian Christians and other Eastern Christianity or something. So I had few people who watch my videos so come into my comment section and say that we are Eastern, we are not like that. So I talk about conversion somewhere
Mm,
here and there. So they say no, no, we don't do that. That's
mm,
more with missionaries, the Protestants and the Catholics. But we are a different branch.
mm.
And they say they have this commandments of Thomas, and then some. It's a bit of a different shade of Christianity, but which not found in Bible.
Okay.
So I don't. They call it gnostic or something. There's a terminology for that.
Okay. Not very aware with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how about Srividya? How does Srividya happen? And what about Jyotisha? Are you into Jyotisha also, like your grandfather?
No, no, not at all. Well, Srividya is basically our family's Kula Devi is Shodashi, Sri Shodashi.
Okay,
So, but we don't have any Archa Vigraha as such. Our Archa Vigraha is basically there is no image or anything, but it's
okay.
just we have something called in Bengali we call it a kunke. So it's a small little bamboo basket that you use to measure rice. So you have these two, a pair of these kunkes uh, on both the sides as Lakshmi and Saraswati, and in the middle you have Devi, okay, which is basically a stone bowl. Okay, so this is like the Trimurti, Tridevi Murti that is worshipped in
So
our home,
Lakshmi, Saraswati, and
and
Durga
Shodashi in
Mata.
between. Yes,
Okay.
Shodashi
And
in
then
between.
you keep it at home or this in a temple?
At home, at our
At
home,
home.
is our Kula Devi. Yes, our Kula
Okay. So
Devi.
you're practicing Upasaka yourself?
Yes, I got Diksha a few years back,
Okay.
2022, formal Diksha, yes.
Okay. So tell us your journey about Srividya, like how it helped you or what about Srividya? Like I'm totally I don't have any idea about Srividya. So I want
Hmm.
you to know. So through you, I want people to know what is Srividya, what's it about?
So Srividya is basically a form of tantram, you can say. So you
Okay.
have Sri Kula Tantram, where Devi has a very Saumya Rupa, and
Okay.
the chief pontiff Devi is called Mahatripura Sundari. And then the cosmos that emanates from her is can be visualized in the image of a Sri Yantram. So in the center is Mahatripura Sundari, and then there are avaranams around it, which is basically from her you put her in the center, so that she becomes the framework for your spiritual cosmology, and then from there you map the rest of the world and yourself as well. So and then you want to get into her abode, so you go through that avaranam and avaranam and avaranam, avaranam. Finally you have this sakshatkaram with Mahatripura Sundari. So this is basically in just Sri Vidya in
Okay.
general. And so in my family, we have this kind of it's a tradition basically. You take a Diksha and you take a Diksha of Devi normally. And with the I don't want to reveal too much, but so before my Diksha happened, here, right after my father's death, I came across the videos of Puri Shankaracharya, and then I started following him. a lot. So all his classes of Chaturmasyam and the Upanishads and the Bhagavatam, and through him, I explored a lot about Sri Vidya and everything. And then when I came to India, I did a Chaturmasya. I basically one of the reason of coming to India was to do a Chaturmasyam with him. So I stayed in
Wow.
Purimat and I did the Chaturmasyam. So we had daily classes, so
Wow.
3 days a day, 3 times a day, and except for Ekadashi and Pratibhada and things like that. So very, very regimented studying that happened over there. That
So how
entire
many hours you are supposed to attend in there?
so in
Supposed to,
the
nahi, how many hours did you attend? Let's take it that way.
well, you are supposed to attend actually, because
Okay.
in the morning we had classes on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which was 1.5 hours, and after, right before lunch there was class on Brahma Sutras. So that was another 2 hours, and in the evening you had classes on Bhagavatam. That was 1 hour because that was followed by some question answers. So he takes a lot of question answers from the pilgrims who come to mathas, and you can ask him, as you may know, anything, and he will take that question. So I did that Chaturmasya with him,
So
and
four
after
months,
no 2 months. So he
2 months.
teaches
Okay.
for 2 months. He is in the matham for 2 months. So that during that 2 months he teaches. So I believe it was September and October. So right until Navaratri, basically. I don't know. I might be mistaking the time frame, but for 2 months I was there. So then what happened? I kept on coming back to Matham because I had made a lot of friends with the people from the Matham, and then
Okay.
they asked me to teach painting to the kids there. So if you want to do some volunteering work, I said, yeah, I can teach them something. So I was teaching them painting, and I used to live in Matham for I don't know at a stretch of 7 days, 4 days, whenever as whatever time I got, and I was interacting with the people a lot. So I made a lot of friends with the mutt itself. So a lot of the senior sannyasis, and I had the pleasure of getting their blessings as well. And after that I had like moved to Chidambaram for some time, and then the entire job thing happened. And then after the job I couldn't go back as frequently as I could, so I wanted some like really good grounding for me, so that, oh, you have to come and visit. So I was speaking with one of the seniors from the matam, and he suggested, have you taken Diksha? But no, not at all. I haven't given it a thought. You should take a Diksha. And okay. Are you sure? Are you like will he be willing? Yeah, yeah. He gives Diksha very easily. And what Diksha do you want? I said, Shividya is what I want to get. That is like our family tradition. Oh yeah, he will. And it was very simple, nothing dramatic at all. Yeah.
That's very inspiring. So see how is Matha open to for people to come and stay and attend class?
When he's here, yes. Whenever there are classes, you can go, and if they have space, rooms available, they will let you stay. Yeah, people come all the time. I think with families and stuff.
Okay. And are you still continuing to listen to Shankaracharya like even now?
Yes, the Chaturmasya classes I do very very religiously. I follow that as much as I
That's
can with my schedule.
that's nice, Mukund. Sorry, Bideshi. So
It's
I'm
okay.
used to
You can call him Mukunda. It's fine. Yeah, Mukunda is
yeah.
our Griha Devata. So our Griha Devata is Sri Radha Mukunda. So
Okay,
I have a personal page. The username is dedicated to our Griha Devata, Sri Radha Mukunda. So
okay.
yeah.
So nice. It's great to know. So anything more you want to tell about your experience? So it's something which will be useful for new people who want to know in Sanskrit or
Mm.
anything you want to say. You can.
I see a lot of like a pattern. So I used to take a lot of classes, these spoken Sanskritam classes, and there is a
Okay.
lot of people they join with a lot of enthusiasm. Maybe you would also know because you are a teacher yourself, and soon after that they just give up. Which what I feel and what I understand is, people come from this what you call FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh wow, so many years have already gone by, so I have to go and I have to quickly catch up as much as I can. And it's very overwhelming. You see, oh God, there are these dhatu pratyas. Oh God, there's suvanta padas, there are kridanta padas, samasa is there, santi is there, and lat lakara, so many lakaras, atmanipadi, parasmati, and they see this entire load and they give up immediately. That's why I feel if you are interested in learning or starting Sanskritam, please go slowly and go with somebody who has experience. I think the importance of a guru cannot be understated in any way. Any Indian thing you want to do, you will be, you will find yourself isolated. I think that is something people should understand. They uh, it's not that difficult. Of course, you will not become a Bharabhi, you will not become a Kalidasa, and that is not the goal. You want some exposure and you want some level of comfort with the language. Everybody who is commenting on my, oh, why is this language, their name is Narayana Swami, their name is Akash. Well, what can I say? First tell this to your parents. Why did they name you under a from a Sanskritam word? So that is the relevance of the. You cannot move a single phrase without using Sanskritam. In Bengali, if I speak, there is no way a sentence can be formed without Sanskritam words from borrowed from Sanskritam. Even the dhatus of the Kriya Padas are from Sanskritam in Bengali.
Wow.
Both in Odia and Bengali, these two languages are very, very Sanskritanishta bhasha. So it's quite imperative that you should have some knowledge, of this is your heritage basically.
I 100% resonate with what you're saying. See, we are supposed to know what we are about, right? What our our land is about. So there's a language of our land, and also certainly it's a Deva Bhasha. It's not a it's something special. It's just special. No, that only you'll understand when you start studying Sanskrit and when you start to see the beauty when you read a Sanskrit work and you start to understand. And the main thing what you said is just amazing. See, that's what worked for me. What worked for you worked for everyone. See, it's slow and steady wins the race. So no, Rome was never built in a day, right? And at the same time, you need a mentor to to hold you on, to hold you from where you are, and to pick you up from there. And here I want to remember my teacher. So her name is Meida Michiga. So she's a Japanese lady. So she has written like books from Akshara, so how to write Akshara in Devanagari. And she has written all the way to explaining Panini Sutras. So she has written commentary on Panini Sutras, 10 volumes explaining Laghu Siddhant Komadi in English. So I think probably it's the only work available with such a, the simple way
Meticulous,
explaining the
yeah.
whole thing. So, I'm someone who, the same kind of situation what you told. So initially it's so overwhelming and you don't understand. And when I was in the course in Arsha Vidya Gurukulam in 2014, I was not so self-confident that, okay, I will do very well in Sanskrit and all that. So there were few like beginner level Sanskrit, and there was a mid level, and there's an advanced level. So since I had some slight idea, in the 11th 12th I had Sanskrit, but that wasn't so good enough. So what I did, we were given some Brahma Shabda, that Bhavati and all that. So we did something. I did something. So they put me in a mid-level class, and the
Mm.
mid-level class was so like going above my head. So 1 month, I just would sit in the class, understand nothing, and there would be a Jewish guy beside me, a Japanese lady. So I would ask them, okay, what's going
Where
on?
was
Which
this, in
page?
India?
Yeah,
This class was in India, or
yeah, in Arsha Vidya in Coimbatore,
okay,
Swami Dayananda Ashram.
okay.
So Arsha
So
Vidya
they
Gurukulam.
have a mix of like very international students.
Yeah. So 75%, 80% of students would be international students, and
Okay.
also teachers, sometimes international
Mm.
teachers. So and I would ask them doubts. Okay, which page number are we referring? What are we studying? And then they would tell you could look at this page, that page, and they would also they don't have such a time when class is going on. You match with the class. So I
Mm.
was not matching with the class. Then one fine day I was so frustrated, and then I went to Michikaji, who was taking a beginner level class. So I said, Michikaji, I want to join your class. She said, okay, join. And she
Mm.
gave me like 10 books of whatever she has written. She said,
Mm.
okay, come from tomorrow. Then I would
Mm.
go. Sometimes I would go late. Sometimes I would, sit early, and then I would attend. So slowly, so I just followed what my teacher told. That's it.
Exactly.
And what I know is the grace of my teacher. Is because of her
Absolutely.
only I know what I know. So
Absolutely.
she said, every day, after class, do homework. बस
Um,
यही करना है और वो 15 मिनट का है बस.
Exactly. You don't have to sit and do Rama Shabda in a whole go and all the Akaranta Shabdas. That's what people do. Oh, I will make up for all the years that I have missed out. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah, that
possible. Come
doesn't
on,
work
you
like
are
that.
also
Yeah.
a human being. There is some capacity. If you read 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, just practice some writing. If you don't know how to read Sanskrit, get familiar with the script, Devanagari script. It's not. I won't say it's if especially if you're languages, if you use Telugu script or Kannada script where all the sounds of Sanskritam are present, then you don't even need to know Devanagari in that way. It becomes even
Yeah, yeah,
easier for you. In Bengali or in Tamil, it becomes a bit tricky, you know.
yeah. So that way, I think, see, and what happens, even I see some students who approach me to study Vedanta or Sanskrit. So what happens when I give them the recordings? Chalo, they'll not attend class. अभी वैसा नहीं होता है. See, recordings are there for students. See, again, when you finish your study, then you for you to refer, or whenever sometimes you miss the class. But recordings just बोलते हैं हम एक दिन में 10 recordings सुन लेंगे. It doesn't work that way. So slow and steady wins the race. So
Mm.
you commit yourself 1 year, 2 years, you commit and you understand any subject. So Sanskrit, Leo, Vedanta, you take anything. So it takes time. That I think people should recognize. And also sometimes what happens, availability of many teachers online or locally or somewhere. So they have a choice. They think so they'll test this person for some time,
Yes.
that person.
Mm.
It's too much testing also will waste time.
Yeah.
So better study for 1 year and then move
Exactly.
on, right?
Yeah. I mean, they
So
try to see whether which teacher is suitable for their capability. Is this teacher? I mean, you don't know. You're just a starter. Whatever he or she teaches, if he is in a position of teaching, they
yeah,
must be know. They must have done something right, right, to be in a
yeah,
position of a teacher. Have
yeah.
some faith. The Shraddha is very important.
And sometimes, see, what happens is sometimes some teachers are like that they kind of too much they dissect the student. Like they say, okay, what you know, how much you studied. It's a kuch. See, that where I take my teacher as an example. Even Dayanandji, even Puji Swamiji, and my Michikaji, my Sanskrit teacher. See, I'm blessed to have like a very good astrologer
Mm.
teacher and a Vastu teacher and a Sanskrit teacher and Vedanta teacher. And also there's a very good mentor I had, like Ganesh ji, in the curriculum, so who would mentor me separate, like we would have long discussions on how to understand Vedanta and all. So he is someone who showed me a direction. So Acharyavan Purusho Veda. So this is what Shruti says, right? So when you have a good teacher, then you will know there's no other option for you to know.
Yeah.
But also provided, see, too much dissecting, too much interrogation, like the students sometimes get scared.
Yeah.
So you ask
Quite
them, okay, what you
intimidating.
know. So yeah, you start, and then you'll only get the feedback whether the student knows
Exactly.
or is able to, pick up
Mm.
your pace or
Yeah.
needs attention somewhere, etc.
Yeah. I think
But
it's
I
even
tell
for
my
the
students,
teacher. I'm sorry. Go on.
no, go ahead, no problem.
No, I was saying even for the teacher, I think it's important to have a kind of a syllabus, that they have to cover before they start knowing what the other student knows. Because even in the Sambhashana Shibiram, people from different levels they will come, and
Okay,
especially if they are young and they have some exposure of a few years of Sanskritam in school, they are like, okay, chashakaha, 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 chashakaha. They become very excited. Okay, but then as a teacher you feel like, oh, okay, let me just give him a bit more something to work on, but that doesn't work on a whole in a group class, right? You have to kind
yeah.
of tame their excitement and like, yeah, I know you know, but other people don't know, so let me just teach them. You walk along with us.
But you know what? See, when we were studying Sanskrit in Gurukulam, and then it was a 3.5 year course. So in the second year, Michikaji started the sutras, the Lagu Siddhant Kaumudi, and then I didn't know anything. So I don't know that whether they'll teach sutra also. I don't know. That Vedanta course I joined, and I joined means I happened to be there because of the grace and Pusamji and all that. Then the first instruction was, you know, to maintain a long book like a register, like bada register, 200 page one. And then she told write a sutra in bold, 2 3 lines. You write the sutra big bada akshar mein. And then you write down the Lagu Siddhant Kaumudi Vritti, to what Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi is saying. And then write down Prathama Vritti. So Prathama Vritti is another book. You know that. So Prathama Vritti ka likho. Do this 5 minute homework every day and use different colors. तो रोज हम तीन तीन चार सूत्र लिख के क्लास में जाते थे, बैठ जाते थे. And I did this every day. So this was a small homework, but she didn't tell us anything. Do this every day. Now there'll be students who do what is told, and they kind of they that keeps adding on to their
Compounds,
understanding.
yeah.
Yeah, and they are the ones who are so excited because they are matching with the flow of the teacher.
Mm,
And what happens? Most of them they kind of take it very lightly.
mm,
They say, okay, ठीक है, चलो. See, Sanskrit is more like mathematics. So you don't read Sanskrit, you practice. So you have to do Rama, Rama, Rama,
mm.
Hari, Guru. सबको करना पड़ता है. नहीं तो you won't get that. So people up, because of whatever, commitments or whatever, they don't end up. So our Sanskrit class was more like I am jumping in the classroom, me, and so the conversation was so high level, like at the end of second year or at the beginning of third year. So 90% of the class was just, not in tune with what was going on. See,
Mm.
that's what the difference is. It's not like Vedanta. Vedanta, you listen and then you go, it'll be repeating. But Sanskrit, it won't repeat. So
Mm.
we assume. So
Grammar, yeah.
yeah, after one
It
year
will
we
build
as
on
so
the one before. It will just keep building on of the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
previous class. Yeah,
And if that continuity is missed, then it's gone.
yeah.
And I, because of the grace of my teacher, I had this continuity that I didn't even miss one class.
Mm.
So pakka, full continuity. And then I would bring in discussions from by me, and then other Bala Manorama, and then just high level discussion. Now even if I look back, I don't know how how I know what I now. I lost touch with respect to sutras, but it's that way. So that practice, it's non-negotiable. It's not that one day you sit and you do all the homework. ऐसा नहीं होता है. So slowly, little bit,
Yeah,
like you, even with respect to health. So every day walk 15 minutes, half an hour. ऐसा नहीं कि one day you will become healthy.
yeah,
That doesn't work
yeah.
that way,
One day
right?
of lot of fibers. Yeah, rest of the days are French fries. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Uh,
So
Also, another pattern I see is people they have this attitude when they starting Sanskritam, especially regarding self-study, because they have already finished their maybe college and they have a degree in IT or computer science. They think, oh, we can just do this on our own. Why do we need a
yeah,
teacher? And because we have understood these, logics and everything in physics or whatever their earlier degrees are, Sanskritam, why should it be different? But it's a completely different world, and it
yeah,
has a complete there. Uh, I firmly believe roting and memorizing Sanskritam is very very important to first understand. You cannot understand and then memorize. You first memorize and then that memory itself will reveal the meaning to it.
yeah.
Actually,
And
I
then you
remember in the beautiful tree there is a letter. In the survey, he's there's corresponding letter between the surveyor and Munro, and he's writing, you know, um, so by the time the resolution to have British education in India has already been passed, and they're just preparing this before Macaulay could do his final, the final nail on the head. And then this guy's writing, yeah, and I go, and if you go and there cannot be a lower level of education as it exists in this country. All these people, they are reciting these the pupils, they recite these things from the books, but if you ask them what does it mean, they cannot tell. I mean, of course, they're 7 8 year old kids. What will they know what ashtadhyayi means? Right now they have to do memorization. The meaning of ashtadhyayi will be, it's like a it's a piece that will be sparked when the time is right, when they
yeah,
go into this kalakshepam, and then guru will, oh, do you remember this you studied in ashtadhyayi, that sutra is being presented here, that's why this form is exactly pratyaya is used, isha ishavasyam idam, that it, how do we use that it pratyaya there? Okay, that you will, where else will you use that it pratyaya in Sanskrit Sahityam? Only when you read Ishavasyam, then your Acharya will tell, remember that pratyaya that we learned in Ashtadhyayi. This is what Bhagavad Pada asked. So, first, a lot of memorization. This will be sparked in the right time. But this is not, but here in the, especially in modern education, memorization has been, like villainized, as if
yeah.
you are if you memorize, then you're not a good student. But only somebody with a lot of medha can memorize. A lot of this is something we also need to appreciate. And in Sanskrit, the memorization is very, very important.
And this memorization is something like a miracle. Like it has some miracle effects. So slowly you'll start even dreaming about these conjugations and so I think that's the siddhi you get first. So you should get
Absolutely.
dream. So that's when your
Mhm.
homework is, you have done it properly. And as you said, the system where the student is first memorizing, and then the teacher uses that in a later stage, and then integrates the whole thing. So it is like you pull up the whole structure. So first you are laying the seeds and all that, and then the whole thing is blossoming, and it's so beautiful. The journey is so enlightening journey. The journey itself is so beautiful, and the process of gaining this knowledge, and also see the thinking. So this kinds of sharpens your thinking in a totally different way. which I think none of the Western or whatever subjects available to us does. So you're training your mind to think in a non-linear way. So it's grammar especially. So you go totally non-linear. So you don't go in a orderly way. So
There's no
my name is
logic at all.
Venkatesh and I am talking to you. We are doing this Zoom session. So we can jumble the words. The whole words can be jumbled and still then we'll arrive at the same meaning.
Exactly, exactly.
So
Yeah.
this thinking, back and forth or going, in
Mm,
a non-linear way, I think this taught at a very young age has a miraculous effects on kids.
mm,
The kids' minds. So it sharpens them like to the next level. So to be
absolutely.
very frank, I in academically my performance was not so great, around 60s till I met my guru. So till I landed up in Gurukulam in 2014, I'm your age only, so you're 1 year older to me. So in 2014, I went to the Gurukulam, and then from that time, and I'm introduced to Sanskrit, and I'm studying this. I became very good in Sanskrit. So it's because of my guru's grace. So looking at any subject matter, so also Vedanta, studying Vedanta. So Vedanta is a primary subject, and then Sanskrit for understanding the Shastra. So this kinds of you get a different view of things. So you want so for me, if you throw any problem at me or any situation, so I know how to get into it, understand it. So listen to 10 versions and try to figure out whatever it's about. So some research oriented. So you're doing PhD, right? So that thinking may thoda, I think it helps people think better and
Yeah.
think sharp. The sharp medha is there, and so certainly it helps.
Also, our acharyas have taken so much of pain. They have gone through word after word after word so that we don't make a mistake. So if you are not diligent, then you are being, it's a travesty, right? If your acharya has done so much, and after their shishas and their shishas, I don't know how many numbers of Vartikakaras can you really finish in one life? It's not
Yeah.
possible because they think it is that important. People keep on working on, and it is our responsibility to be as diligent as possible. It's like, I always give this example regarding this memorization, and later so in the Harry Potter series, so when Ron first time tries to turn his turn Scabbers into, I don't know, something. They were going on the train, and then he says, "Oh, he has been in our family for 12 years." It never sparked us. Oh, why is the rat there for 12 hours? Only in Prisoner of Azkaban we understand. Oh, it was actually Peter Pettigrew. So it's like J.K. Rowling had already thought of it that okay, this person will, I mean, this rat will become the central point in the Prisoner of Azkaban. In between, there is still a volume. Chamber of Secrets is still yet to be published. So this is kind of how these sutras they just appear at the right time, and you don't even have to think about what exactly it means. That memory, that na na na, that that rhythm itself opens the meaning of it, and exactly why is it suitable here. Right. Think in Isha only, where Vasyam Achadaniyam, this is what Bhagavad Padara writes, right? And Vedanta Desika writes Vasyam, where Nivasate, iti Vasyam. Okay, so grammatically, both are correct only. Okay, Vasadhatu, you can use it both ways. So, whichever way you're inclined, you will, if you are in a younger family, or if you're in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, you will immediately connect, oh, exactly, this is the dhatu, and this is why what we have studied in Ashtadhyayi makes perfect sense, isn't it? So, this is
Yeah.
how multipotent the Sanskritam grammar is.
And it's a result also is very instant, right? See, what motivates us to study or teach is that once you teach and you see the journey of a student, the student starts appreciating, oh, Shivaya Chaturthi Vibhakti
Mm.
Sampradane Chaturthi, all these kind of things, that's what, and the result is instant. So you do homework, you listen to classes, 3 4 classes, you start to see, you know little bits here and there, fourth case, sixth case, yeah, meaning, wo meaning, all these kind of things. It's a very result. You'll see the results. So
Yeah,
that's a very
it's
amazing.
immediate, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Very immediate validation of your
Yes, yes.
memorization. You will understand. Oh,
Exactly.
thank God I had written the sutra there with the red ink. You
Yeah,
will
yeah,
feel
yeah,
it was worth it.
yeah.
Totally.
So so did you even study sutras, Bideshji?
So Ashtadhyayi I haven't studied formally.
Okay.
Only so when we were, so it's like when you do the sandhi, you learn the
Yeah, Motsadi
relevant
Sutras.
sutras, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Samasas,
Monuswaraha.
yeah. I haven't gone through Ashtadhyayi or even Lagu Siddhanta Kaumudi. I haven't started.
So I think you'll do very well in Lagu Siddhanta, it's just
Uh,
amazing. I'll share you some material of
sure,
my
sure, sure.
teacher.
Definitely,
It's
definitely.
just very nice to study sutra. So sutra is the next level study. I mean, I'm sure you know it, but it's for the students who
Mm.
listen or
I think
someone.
there is a YouTube, Instagram handle as well. He, I think, does a lot of decodings of these sutras in a very Matrix movie kind of a way. So he's
Really?
like, yeah, he's interacting with Ashtadhyayi, and then as if like the robot is answering it back. It's like he presents it in a coding format. So it's quite
Okay, okay.
entertaining to watch, and I think the audience also appreciates a lot that how.
Oh, who is this? The one who's long hair and beard, that guy,
No, no,
or
no. That is, I think, Shreyas. He's the guy from the Sanskrita channel you're talking about, right?
okay,
Shreyas. That's not Shreyas ji. It is, I think, his name is Yasha Salunke. He's
okay,
from Maharashtra, I believe. Very young guy, actually, very young guy.
okay.
He has
Uh,
done exceptional work, and he's, I think, pretty popular as well in the Sanskrita domain. So I think recently he started this Panini Ashtadhyayi series. It's very nice.
I'm sure that through you, like many kids should be inspired and they step onto the Sanskrit and they learn Sanskrit. And here I want to tell one point is, see, Panini ji was supposed to be a Mandabuddhi. So in his childhood, so he's somewhere from Afghanistan. So you're from the east, he's from the west. So Afghanistan region, so his birthplace. So that's how Bhaimi Kara Bhimsen Shastri ji
Mm,
writes about Panini ji. So in his young age, he was a Mandabuddhi. So Mandabuddhi is people who are, not related to what the teacher is saying and then would look here and there. And nowadays, I think they will be labeled as ADHD or some other thing. So,
mm,
people see sometimes the intellect, it doesn't mean anything about one's intellectual capacity. Maybe it's like you teach a kid this is a pen. So you say pen, pen, pen. Abhi kid is questioning why are you even labeling it as a pen? Because
mm.
pen, the word, the sound, you are deliberately attributing to it. This object means nothing. So if I say it is hen, 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 and 10 people start
It will
saying
do the
hen.
same
So
work,
this is
yeah.
a hen, right? So we have just agreed to, set of attribution. So if you finally look at what language is, it's ultimately attributing a sound to a form.
Mhm,
So you write A, and the kid is saying why it is A.
mm.
The kid questions that very attribution. So uska intellect kitna high hoga?
Exactly.
So like even Einstein, I think he was misjudged. So he was considered a mute guy who doesn't think, or till age of 6, because they are wondering why these people are like this. मैं कहाँ आके गिरा से,
Mm,
why they
mm.
think like that. And I think because of his guru or whatever change happened in him, and then he transformed into what he was. He has given us this whole system of grammar. So I think anyone who think their kid is very dull or anything, so you try Sanskrit and then find out whether he's really dull, or or
Exactly.
we are the problem.
Yeah. I mean, he would do, I think, just fine, just because
Yeah,
he doesn't know. I mean, yeah, like I have a nephew. He's only 4, and he's 4, I think 5 now. Started going to school, and I think he's supposed to memorize this Baba Black Sheep, Mary Had a Little Lamb, for what use? I mean, and their parents are very kind of worried. Oh, he's not doing so well in school. I mean, like, thank God he's not doing so well. There's no point of learning Baba Black Sheep at the age of
exactly.
4 or 5. No, let him live his life for now. There will be a time when he will also have to pay taxes. That is when the real the real worry comes in. You have to do your insurance, you have to pay your taxes. At
Correct.
4 or 5, we should not try to direct them to that horror of life.
Yeah. And also to kids, I think what really helps is, as you said, the by hearting of, I kind of, I taught my kids like when my kids were 3 and 4. So I have 3 kids. So the younger one is just 1.5. The elder two are like 6 and 5. So when they were 3 and 4, I guess, or 2.5 or 3.5, I taught them like suauja, samauchas,
Mm,
tabhyambis. I taught that.
mm,
Tiptaschi, siptastha, and then I like the Maheshwara Sutrani. So Maheshwara Sutrani, Supratyaya, Ting Pratyaya.
mhm.
I taught them, and I taught around 20 Gita shlokas.
Wow.
So kids just absorb it like sponge, and that
Yeah.
is helping them. So as you said, this Baba Black Sheep and all, that's not
For
these are
what
very
use
superficial
exactly?
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you teach this kind of Sanskrit thing, and then I taught them this Gita shloka like Gneyam Yattat Pravakshami Yat Jnatva
Mm,
Amritam Ashnati, 13th chapter, and here and there. And then when I travel in car, when I drop them at school, sometimes I listen to the recordings of Puja Swamiji, and then once Swamiji was quoting Gneyam Yattat Pravakshami. And then my children like they spotted how Gneyam Yattat Pravakshami Swamiji is saying. I said
mm,
he only taught me that.
exactly.
Yeah, so this is what it works. So you
Mm,
teach kids this, and that'll help them somewhere in life, because life is blah blah black sheep is not going to help them. See, the
exactly.
final resort is spirituality. That spirituality is in the form of shastra, Gita Shastra. So people should have this know-how that there is a shastra. See, it is talking for to deal with the ultimate problems of life. So how do I get cross this ocean of samsara?
Mm,
So
mm,
Gita Shastra is a means. So
mm,
people should at least look at that, right? At least that awareness we create and we go. Now, at some point of time, it may help them and this moves forward.
mm.
So if we don't know, like know how we don't know, then we don't even care to, even have some respect on the Shastra. So know how, I think we need to create that awareness, what Shastra is about.
And I think particularly about English education. Well, I was not. I studied in a Bengali medium school, and I'm really thankful to my English teacher. Actually, she was the first person to kind of she told me just speak in English in my class, and that was like first point of assurance that I got with English, the language English in its own. But in Indian context, what happens in the education system, you learn English not to learn it as a language, but as if you want to become English as if your own. So if you're learning Bengali, if you're learning Telugu, you don't try to become a better Telugu person, better Bengali person. But when you're studying English, the goal is to become not to learn the language and its structure, but become English.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like the degree of colonization that has kind of engrossed into the psyche of the mass. And there is no cure other than giving them better models of aspiration, right? So for example, if your kid is listening to Gita Shastram Idam Punyam Yaf Pathet Prayatah Puman, and you say, oh, my father says this and this is a nice activity with my father, now he goes to a different world and see, oh, it's just not my father, there is a larger world that kind of
Yeah,
lives this truth every day. And that is how your first pointer, it's what a beautiful exposure to the world, isn't it,
yeah.
with such a sacred text rather than Baba Black Sheep, which is so sad.
And as you pointed out in this when you're talking about the beautiful tree, right? And you said that there's the whole system they kind of changed, and they kind of set it for to meet their roles. So they created this collector and then what this what peon and clerk or whatever posts. So the whole thing is they try to fit people into these jobs.
Mhm,
So that's what they are training this for. So the
mhm.
whole Western education is for you to, place yourself somewhere in the society where, designed by the English. And
Well,
as
before that, they were already quite, if my memory serves me right, I think even before the Macaulay education policies were kind of circulated in India, before that, they were able to convince the elites of India. Because you have to imagine, like by 1757, the Battle of Plassey was won by the British, and then they
yeah,
have the the Fort of William established in Calcutta. So since then, since like 1700s, late 1700s, they have had a very strong presence in Calcutta. And Macaulay only comes into picture, I think, late in the 1800s. I forget the year. Okay, but I think there is a 50 years of difference between Macaulay and Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who's establishing Brahmo Samaj, okay, which is like the first Renaissance. And again, so Bengal in general, I don't know, maybe I don't want it to become a very political talk as such, but Bengal has been the first, it's like the pet project of the British, to create these brown sahibs. And so
yeah,
before Macaulay, there's like 50 years of gap. So they have been here since the 1800s. And all this while, they have been grooming the elites of Bengal. Okay. So when in I think in 1830s, I forget the year, sometime in the 1830s, 1840s, when Raja Rammohn Rai, he's kind of signing the decree of the creed of the Brahmo Samaj. Before that, it was called the Brahmo Sabha, which later became Brahmo Samaj. okay, which is basically the Eastern version of Arya Samaj, okay, maybe a bit more polished, if I may add. So there you see the people who are writing the degree, their names are already anglicized, and the English education has not even is yet to be start 50 years later.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so they are signing Radha Prasad has become Radha Prasad. Okay, and Vaikuntha Kumar is become Vaikuntha Kumar, and the boy Kanta Kumar. I mean, do you not know your sounds? It really makes you wonder. I mean, what was exactly going on, and how you wonder? Oh, there is this company that is coming to trade, and they're colonizing. But what does it mean? If you really get into the details, this is what it means. It has already captured the elites who are supposed to set the narrative of the area, and they are to become the models of aspirations. Everybody would want to become like them. So even if you start your education policy, you have to make sure that these people have been already groomed to your taste. Okay, and in general, you're giving them, oh, you become a Rai Bahadur, you become a Raja, and I'll give you the knighthood, and these are very lucrative, right? Imagine you're just one zamindar of a little area which happens to collect a lot of tax, and then this officer coming with the white skin is telling you, "Oh, why don't you come to London and we will take you to the dinner with the Queen, and we can have this nice wine." I mean, it's very very lucrative, and by the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
so for that you have to have that kind of mannerisms and. You know how then you start, oh, I have to go there, so let me see what is the correct order of fork, and but you're eating with your hand in your house. Why do you need to learn all of this? So this is the mental colonization. Is basically epistemic violence that it is called, I believe. Basically, you're just colonizing the mind to kind of see your colonizer as superior, and you try to imitate everything that he does. Okay, and so that you just completely replace your own values, and you just this is what you have. And after this project is done, whatever you so basically what I'm trying to do is, okay, you have your own set of values, and I'm the colonizer, I'm going to colonize you. So your own set of values will be replaced by something that we can use. And it doesn't matter what you reproduce. Okay, if you're say reinterpreting or misinterpreting Vedantam, say anything, Upanishads, it doesn't matter what you're saying. You can say, oh, Vedantam is basically this mic. Okay, we will validate it. Just say something different. In exchange, we are going to give you a Rai Bahadur title, or we are going to give you this knighthood, whatever. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a lot of work to colonize an entire country of this vast. You have to appreciate that the British were really quite adept to it. So they had done a lot of homework, a lot of resources taken from the
Yeah.
Indian consumers were invested back into India, so that they could groom these elites of British taste, so that they could get later the coconuts that they wanted.
And they had a very realistic time frame in mind. So they took 100 years, 200 years.
Mhm.
So if not me, so they ensured that continuity went forward, but with a very big time frame. Like you see here, we have Christian schools. So I studied in a Christian missionary school, and there's so many Christian missionary schools, and which have like thousands of crores of properties in the center of cities, located in every city. So even they took a very huge time frame, right? So they are working since the last few hundred years. So that's how they capture a country. So as you said, even before they start the policy, they start like 50, 100 years before that, and how to like I think even now, policies are working that way. So it's the elite who know the thing, and then we are the victims of whatever they
Mm.
decide.
Absolutely.
So the world works that way. It looks like, and you see, as you said, people who study English, they want to become English. So see the obsession with handwriting and the obsession with pronunciation, and
Mm.
then whatever grammatical things, which the Americans just don't care about.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
like that about the
Yeah.
American English. They just don't care about the spellings. The obsession with spellings here. The English and the UK kind of thing, and the Renan Martin and all these books. So so pain in the I don't want to say it. So, this American English is like they did a good job, to reject this kind of
At the
system where
beginning, yeah.
they're so particular about handwriting. The Americans just don't care about handwriting. And in fact, see, in our schools, I think we were rewarded for good handwriting. You write, in a
The
cursive writing.
cursive, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we are all victims of that age. But nowadays, I don't think even writing matters. So you just type, or even not even laptop. Phone में type करना है बस. You don't need even to bring out big passages. You have ChatGPT. You just put out your idea, and that's going to frame the whole thing for you. Like,
Well, this entire school system is set up to produce slaves. So industrial revolution has already happened in Britain, right? In Britain, by the time they are here and well established. So they need a lot of people who will work for the mass production that they are going to do from raw materials of this country. So they need mindless people. So you have
yeah,
to. So imagine if you're a weaver, right? By the time you're 10, 12 years old, you're going to join your father's handloom and you're going to learn how to do it. And with your father, you're going to the markets and you understand what is the value of this cotton, what is the value of that silk, how much in this area I can ask for. And also, you have your own patrons. So certain families will only buy from you, So every year, there is a fixed income for you that is kind of a. So you're quite uh, independent, financially quite independent that way, right? But then if you are producing a lot of things which is very local and topical, and I want to remove all that variety, and I want that thing that is being produced in the mill by taking cotton from you, I have to put you in somewhere, right? So I have to show you, oh, you're not going to school, what are you learning, why you're not learning about the I don't know, what is the geographical location of the steppes, and what is happening in the savannah. Do you know how the what does the kid has why does the kid have to know all of this, right? So you're
yeah,
take basically, what are you doing? This education system is taking you away from the financial force, the money market. You don't know how money works. By the time you finish your 12, you have no idea what is your expertise. And now kids are like roaming, oh, what should I do? I don't know this. Should I just try this? Let me just go and just go for a corporate job and see if I like it or not. You're already 18. What do you mean you will like it or not? You are supposed to be earning money and help your family.
yeah,
And right now, people want to like keep on pushing the age of marriage by 30s. Let me just try life until 30. So this is what the more delay you have in your marriages, the lesser children you will produce. That means the entire country's consumption rate will go down,
yeah,
which means you get to have an individual life. So you're producing for the other peoples to consume your stuff, and you will keep making cheap products for them. This is the ultimate price that you pay for colonization and taking somebody else's ideals as your own.
yeah. And they kind of destroyed the agriculture part also, making them grow this tea or opium, or it's all very well,
Indigo was a big thing.
yeah, indigo, yeah. So they did everything, what they wanted to, what has value for their trade in Europe, and after export, and destroyed the local culture, and created, as you said, creating mindless people. So just be obedient. So the obedient is
Yeah.
all coming from that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. It is to serve them basically. They will give you pennies in term of um, salary. You get pennies, but you feel, oh wow, at least some fixed income is coming. But you have
Yeah.
completely lost your opportunity. You have let go of your roots. What is your adhikara? The market which is in your adhikara, your janmagata adhikara is that market. You have lost that market. What can you
Yeah,
do?
exactly. I think we this generation, like our generation, I think we are a bit of a living in a time where the truth is coming out through the internet, and through the rise of this social media. I think people are looking back, and picking up the threads which our previous generation has left. Like,
Mm.
as you said, your grandfather was a pandit, and then I don't think that the next generation picked it up when they came, because they had to adjust to the local British.
There was no scope of it at all, because after we do, so I don't know what kind of thing we had back in then East Bengal, but my grandfather, he had to settle in a slum. So all his five children, we just grew up in a slum. So it's like three generations without uh, a permanent roof under there. So I'm like the third generation since the refugees came, and we still don't own a house. Okay, we are still like rented a place. So this is, you're completely uprooted. Okay, you don't
Yeah,
know where you belong. You're being mocked for your language, your accent. Okay, your language and your accent becomes a point of mockery and comedy for the Bengalis here. Okay, so you are
yeah,
not speaking your own language outside. You make sure. Okay, and there's this kind of a kataksha. Oh, these are refugees and they're here. So that is kind. I won't call it a stigma. It's not a stigma or anything. People are actually quite amicable in Bengal in general. But yeah, sometimes it does come out. But I don't blame that for anything. I don't want to become a victim here. I'm very grateful to what Mother India has given me, and
Yeah.
to be honest, the Hindu Samaj that I have grown up in has given me a lot, especially the immediate neighbors we had. Thank God, um, I was not in a kind of in a closed society where certain kind of mindsets would blossom. My parents were very very strict about that.
So that's very nice that you have picked this roots and you're connected with such ancient subjects like Sanskrit, Sri Vidya, Vedanta, and that the classical dance like Odia, like whatever you just said, and then
Orishi,
the
yeah,
literature, Odishi.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm sorry that
it's
I
okay. Yeah,
misspelled that.
Orishi.
So this is just amazing, and you see that we are all victims of the propaganda which sets up like the narratives are built on top. Like, for example, the whole feminist narrative was built by McDonald's, so to sell their burgers. So this whole fast food movement, which was on the rise, so they kind of created ads where they promoted that you don't have to cook at home; it costs the same, so you both can work and then you do this and this whole feminist thing. And you see how it has creeped in the the whole thing, and people stop cooking at homes, and this then see what happens is you grow up at a home where your mom cooks or your whoever cooks and your aunt cooks or your grandmother cooks or whoever whatever, and then when this kind of trend changes, so the kid is growing up in a home where there's no cooking. So when I was doing masters in US, so I would work in a store so part time, and then I would see that these kids would get $1 and buy a 50 cent chips and a 50 cent drink like a juice like clear fruit or something, and then that's a meal, that's a lunch they had, and that's a dinner they have. So it's very sad. And in US, some places the weed is legal and some places even not. These kids like mom is doing given to weed or even dad is given to weed, and that's what is going on, and there's no cooking at home. So the whole cooking thing is destroyed by this McDonald's propaganda. So McDonald's want to sell its products, and then you see how a class in society gets abused, in a very subtle way. It's not a direct abuse.
Well, you cannot, if you're doing a lot of mass production and you have a lot of things to sell, and you want a lot of production, you cannot let just 50% of the entire population sit still. You want them
Yeah,
outside of the house. So you want
yeah,
50% of the entire population, which is women, to come out of their house and do a lot of work for you.
yeah,
And basically, you're gaslighting them. Oh, your husband is patriarchal and
yeah.
your
That's what
what
is
inanna the your entire family. There's a politics of family, and you are basically one woman who's trapped in this family. So you come out and you come into this entire world of men where all the men are not patriarchal. You come out of your family where your family members are patriarchal, but in the office, those men are not patriarchal.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to also add, see, you are from Calcutta, which was the hub of these Britishers, like Madras, Calcutta, these were like the main places. So you tell me how many Britishers had their wives work, in their workplace, like, traditional like trads, get this blame, like people who are cultured, who live in the traditional homes, like bound by certain rules, and they were very clean life. They get blamed. But you see, that's how, everyone is.
Aristocrat people do not let their women out of their house. That is why they're aristocrat. Okay, they know how to protect their women. Nita Ambani going out in the open. She's not working for a corporation. She is there to keep the family name intact, to make sure that this is a face you can rely on. Our family is something you can rely on. So her face is extremely important to build the economy that the patriarchal men are doing. So imagine every family has one product. If you're a weaver, your father will specialize in a single sari. The next door will specialize in a single another checker box pattern. The next door will another motive. So every family is basically, they have their own unique selling point,
Yeah.
right? And that is why you have this entire diversity of goods, and you that makes sure that your demand never goes out. But you remove all the diversity and you want really large scale mass production to replace all of it. And you need a lot of people to produce them. produce the raw materials, carry the raw materials, manage the raw materials, get the products done, get it packaged. It cannot be done all things by a machine, right? And then,
Yeah.
of course, after the product is finished, you're not consuming it.
Yeah.
You're getting paid me very meagerly, and it is being transported back in maybe Target, and what takes about, I don't know, 50 rupees to me, that thing is becoming $20 over there. Because of
Yep.
course there they have the wage minimum wage rules, which is 10 what $15 or $18 per hour nowadays. If you want to sell a, you tell me, if you want to sell a hoodie, this hoodie is $20. How can you pay the worker $18 an hour? Who will buy that
Yeah.
hoodie? So people of women of Bangladesh are really emancipated after Hermes comes and opens their. Are they really emancipated? Or their soul is being sucked out of it. You're mute, I think.
Here, one more thing I want to talk about is, see, this as you said, this is how they kind of introduce their own systems, and then for people to get out and to fit themselves in the various roles in society, and especially the Indian society. I think that this kind of family planning was one such agenda which was rubbed onto our previous generation. I think I broke that. I'm someone who's like a black sheep among all my friends or cousins or relatives or whoever. Oh, because no one has, one more than one, or some of them don't have more than two. So I have three kids. So this is something they think it's like a taboo. Like, how can you have three kids? And my wife, they look at her like, what horror has happened? What has he done to you? Like, you bear three children. Like, it's just something, they couldn't comprehend that. That's because of their brainwashing. They were brainwashed. And one religion of this country, the majority religion was brainwashed. Because of this modern education, they
Deliberately. Yeah.
yeah. And then the family planning thing was rubbed onto Hindus, and these were the ones who followed that. And as you said, you cut down the population. How to cut the population? So this is a very planned, very planned attack on Hindus. So if you look at it in a, if you have this broader picture, people will understand. Like
Well,
I,
yeah,
mm,
sorry. Please continue.
like I don't see even my dad's siblings or my mom's siblings. No one had more than two children. Like two was a like limit. Like two
Mm-hmm.
was like done. Most of them
Kind
one.
of taboo to have more than
Yeah,
two, actually. Yeah. So yeah, basically what you reduce the fertility rate. So you want people to live a lot of individualistic lifestyle. Individualistic means not only you don't get married, but you kind of get out of your own house. You get a separate house. You get all the things. So you just keep on spending money that you earn from this company.
yeah.
You never build your own empire. There is no saving for you. Right. And people need to understand your number is in strength. Law will not come to protect you. Your number in strength will protect you at the time of conflict. Law is there to give you some. I am quoting Ankit Shah. I don't know if you know. So as he puts it, law is there to give you compensation. After the damage is done, after other people have broken you can go and appeal. But
कांड के
the
बाद.
law, exactly. But if you have a good strength in numbers, nobody will come there.
Yep, yep. No, this is how we were strategically, targeted. And as you said, we want to move out, have our own home and have our own thing. See, ultimately, however free you think you are, however liberal you are, however, individualistic you are still, following the narrative. Like, you buy what is decided by the big food, big pharma, by the big players on top. So they decide your life. You think, you will earn money and you'll spend. So you will go, yeah, as once you start earning, you'll go and take a home loan. So you are a victim. You are a product of the bank. So bank owns you. So you go, you spend money for the bank. So you earn money for the bank basically, and you spend money. Your money keeps rotating. So you're just a
A pawn.
pawn.
You're a
Yeah,
pawn.
pawn in the whole scheme of things. So you are
Yeah.
told what to spend. So I appreciate, like I have this kind of a frequency match with you. It's like,
Yeah, they're just dictating your consumption pattern. What to
yeah,
eat, when to eat, how many times to eat, what to have in the breakfast, how much protein to have, what pills to avoid, what pills to take, what is the current diet, how many hours you should to go into gym, but just how to spend your entire money.
yeah,
There's no need to save for your children. Don't have children only. If you have children, how will you take that foreign trip to Paris that you have seen? in your
Yeah.
I don't know, some novel that you have read, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly. And as you said that that's such a sensitive point, that to understand what you just said, that these people dictate the narrative, what to eat, what to spend exactly. And I am a certified metabolic health coach, so I had a personal transformation. I was 120 kilos, 110 kilos. Then I went down to 67. So I did some, permutation and combination, worked on myself, and then did this one meal a day with a lot of high intensity workout. And then I lost weight. Now I'm near 80 and I'm maintaining that. So I tell people, so what not to eat? Don't follow the mainstream, advice. So eat 6 meals a day. At the breakfast, have a cereal, have lots of fiber in your diet. All BS, you know. It's very simple. So there's a simple, so calorie, the whole calorie model, you'll be surprised, Bideshi, to know that the whole calorie, idea, the model was given out by Coca-Cola to sell Diet Coke.
what is even is zero sugar? What?
During 2005 FIFA, they had sponsored scientists to do this study, that calories equal to calories, and then calories, 30 calories of sugar equal to 30 calories of protein or carbs, and everything is the same. It's just calories at the end of the day. And we have a product which is 0 calories equal to water. So, drink. You see how we see that Elon Musk or Trump, they kind of proudly say, I have Diet Coke, I have like 10 cans of Diet Coke and all that. See how their products, and also to sell beer, they kind of created this light beer and these calories and ultra light and all these kind of, this whole calorie model is a funded model.
Mhm. Yeah, and these corporations, it's not just a company; it's a total enterprise that have very deep political pockets. So,
Yeah.
a Republican or a Democrat, they will come and go. These deep political pockets are gonna, because these are the people that fund the political rallies and the election. Doesn't matter whoever comes, they have to be in their support chain. I think
Hundred
even
percent, Bideji. 100% what you're saying is, and also, here, to also go one step further. The farmers' hands, the pockets are so deep. They kind of fund the entire campaign for on both sides.
yeah,
So the products they create now, you see the rise of Ozempic. So instead of telling people eat properly, take care of your nutrition lifestyle, they are told to take this kind of tablet. So there's a, billions of dollars are invested even before the product is out. They've invested, and so you see how it's being recommended. It's going to be recommended. I don't think it is yet started. So Munjaro and all, I think it started
yeah.
in a very tiny way, but let's see how it'll go, how what shape it's going to take.
Yeah. First, they will give you the diet that increases blood sugar, blood pressure, and then they will keep you. Oh, your blood pressure increased. Take this blood pressure. Oh, then that is gonna cause another blood sugar problem later. Okay, so you are like a permanent customer for them.
100%,
Yeah,
yeah.
your bad
And you
health is
see,
their fortune.
yes, yes. And they started seeing this parameter called cholesterol. See, cholesterol is a BS parameter. And then, they see the cholesterol reading is high. And then they created this medicine called ecosprin. And then taking ecosprin reduced cholesterol, but that has caused diabetes. And then reducing cholesterol more has caused cancer. So,
Yeah.
see, it's all the loops. If we are working on something, this whole body is not one tiny thing, so you can pull it out and reduce a parameter. It's a whole system.
Yeah.
So एक parameter छेड़छाड़
One
करो.
variable exactly. You cannot just pinpoint one variable to.
Yeah, it's not tangible, like as a, you can do just work on one thing. It's a whole system or whole thing. एक का छेड़छाड़ करो, then the पूरा इधर उधर हो जाता है.
Mm-hmm.
And these kind of psyche meds, psychological meds, वो तो you don't talk about it.
I think the entire, well, I think I should not, I should be very careful before I finish my PhD how I speak. But I really think the entire, a lot of the psychological industry, the industrial psychological counseling that is going on, I think I don't have a lot of faith in it.
Yeah. I mean, people have a point that, extreme cases and all, fine, whatever you say, but, a tiny innocent judgment made with respect to a kid who wants to play. This goes on. I think in our generation, this was there in US in private schools. So there's a doctor, Dr. Roger McFillin. So he's a psychologist. So he talks about it, Roger McFillin. So he talks about the abuse of this industry. So he was giving a podcast, and the podcaster is a 30-year-old lady, and then she kind of resonated with this idea where she went to private school, and when the kids in her school, when they were not focusing, because it was totally high level thing going above the head in the class, and that's a very common thing for a student. Like I don't think that's a big thing. So things go above your head. So this kid is distracted, or will start playing, or will start playing with a pen, or spinning, or whatever, play with the legs or move the legs or hands, whatever. So these kids were, taken for evaluation. Our age, when we were kids, like that time in 2000, early 2000, that time. And then they were diagnosed by ADHD. So ADHD is a entry level diagnosis, gateway diagnosis. And then they would be given medication. And then this podcaster, this lady, said that her name is Alex. So she said that she found that the whole soul in this her friend who was diagnosed was misdiagnosed. So these kids would wonder why they were taken to a evaluation, why they were drugging this girl next to me, my friend. And then she would see that she would become so dull and so kind of very like a potato, like no emotion kind of state where they take this tablet, take this medication. And then eventually this gateway diagnosis, why I'm saying is eventually by taking this medication again, day in, day out, and they would be diagnosed with bipolar, and then that'll go extreme, and then finally it'll end up in some kind of episode. This is how a whole generation, our like people who are of our age were victimized in the West, and then the same system is being followed today. So I kind of I'm very vocal about it in my circle. So telling people like this is what happened in the previous generation. They say that the US sneezes and the world catches cold, ऐसा कुछ बोलते हैं ना. तो
Mm-hmm.
उधर होता है 30 साल पहले, उसके बाद इधर पता चलता है, पीस वी आर द लेट ब्लूमर्स.
Yep, yep.
So now we are catching up the international schools and the IB curriculum and this whole thing. And then, the doctor, the pediatrician, the child psychologist, and the school. These three are the nexus. ये एक nexus बन जाता है.
Hmm.
So it's very important to be alert, to know what the system is about, what the education system is about, and to navigate it well, to not be a victim of it. So we
Mm-hmm.
don't want people to get victimized by this nexus. See, I say pediatrician. Why? Because I'll ask you, as a child, how many vaccines were you given?
I think I have only one here, this big one.
Yeah, right. So even I have one or two here and there. You'll be surprised to know that till the age of 6 now, 0 to 6, there are 100 vaccines
In
recommended
India.
in all over the world. So
Okay.
CDC is this organization governing that. So CDC, Center for Disease Control. So CDC is funded by Bill Gates, and Bill Gates decides. Bill Gates is highly invested in pharma. So he has experimented left, right, center on Indians, and then Congress, the UPA government before Modi ji, they had driven him out of India because a lot of Adivasis have lost their lives taking this what they're saying, the cervical cancer का जो vaccine है ना, उसको कुछ बोल रहे हैं वो,
Okay.
that vaccine for this cancer. Even now Sudha Murthy ji was involved in promotion of that vaccine.
Okay.
HPV.
HPV. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, HPV vaccine. So this HPV was experimented on in UPA government time, and then tribals have lost their lives, and then some major complication happening, and then they had driven Gates away, and now again we are in this kind of a capitalist
Mm-hmm.
friendly government where Bill Gates had lobbied and again come into India, and then this COVID vaccine and all this drama, whatever happened. So now we have all over the world, kids are supposed to take 100 vaccines till they turn 6. So MMR1, MMR2, MMR3, and then all whatever, all the other vaccines are they just give them, bombard them with vaccines after vaccines. And then that's the reason why we see a lot of organ failure, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, all these complications developing kids, and also neurological conditions. And then
Infertility.
yeah, infertility, sir. Yes, certainly. And the neurological, they kind of they are atypical, and then they need attention of psychologists, and you are shelling money for psychology, for psychologists, and then the therapies, etc. So whole thing is a nexus. So I think it's very important to stay alert. And now, because of Trump's government, the health minister appointed as Robert Kennedy Jr. So he's very vocal about anti-vax. He's an anti-vaccine guy, and is very vocal about the damage vaccines cause. And so we are not scared because now we have health minister on our side. He has written a lot of books, and he stood for this people who are abused by the system. So yeah, Bideshji. So what I'm trying to say is to live an alert life is very important. To
I think
not be a
Bill Gates
victim
is
of the
quite
system.
vocal about the human population and how we should work on reduction of the human population. And he and the entire Nexus is always advocating for universal income, universal basic income. Because if AI is going to take over your industry, what are you going to do? So basically, that means what? They are going to dictate how long you're going to live and how you're going to spend your money. So you'll become a complete um, it's a slavery 2.0, but it's something you cannot even do a revolt against because your entire livelihood depends on it. And I see that man, and I just like shrills of horror run in my blood. He is a scary guy. He is a scary guy.
As you rightly said, this Biteshi, that you know why it saddens me to know that, to hear him talk about world population, like we have to do something about it, like as though he or his father is feeding the entire world population.
Yeah,
So he takes that moral high ground. So it really saddens me to listen to that, he why he's so scared, and environmental change and then population rise. So इसका क्या जा रहा है, तो इसका क्या कौन खा रहा है?
seriously. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know how like platforms even allow these kind of things to. I mean, he is blatantly saying talking about mass killings. I don't want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
sound very alarmist, but this is what it is. What does population control mean? That we are almost 8 billion people right now on Earth. Population control means what? You have a timeline. By the time you want to see half of the population in what and how long? If you go through the general progression, so the population hike we see is around right after I think industrial revolution. You see the spike goes up, but that
yeah.
itself is almost I don't know 50, 70 years. So you're not going to live for 50, 70 years, but you want to see the results. So before you are out of this world, so that means there has to be something drastic, right? That you're looking for.
Yeah. And that's what we see through rise of so many new diseases. And you see like so many new diseases propping up in elders and kids. And it's not a difficult thing to correlate and understand what's
Mhm.
going on.
Yeah,
Just
it's very
requires to us to have eyes open.
extremely very very important, very very important to be like conscious of what you put. I think like for example here we were basically blackmailed. I was not ready to take the COVID vaccine at all, but then I also had to visit India, so it was mandatory that you take the. So there is no way out. You have to take both the shots, and I didn't take the booster once I was back in India. There was no way. I did not. I mean, we see in biology we know it takes decades to develop a vaccine. How is it that just there's an outbreak and suddenly within 6 months the science has no in no other there is no vaccine for plague, there is no vaccine for AIDS, there is no vaccine for I don't know prostate
Cancer.
cancer, but there is a
Yeah.
vaccine immediately after 6 months of a new disease, new virus
Yeah.
altogether, which tells me what either the vaccine was already ready and then you spread the virus so that you can sell the vaccines to the countries.
Yeah. It's just hilarious that how the world was, fooled by
Fooled.
this
Exactly.
whole thing, this whole
Coerced.
nexus.
We were coerced into taking this vaccine. And we have
Yeah.
seen like the horrors that have come from especially the Western European countries, where they have a lot of, I mean, how do you not make this connect? You have these Western European countries where they don't produce a lot. They are completely dependent on the US dollars reserve currency status. Their economy runs in it. And, there is a lot of social expenditure that goes on. And lo and behold, this outbreak comes and all the dead people, all the old people die, and the entire social expenditure is gone in 6 months. What a
Yeah.
boon for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So Biteshi, just give me 1 minute. I'll just be back. Yes, Videsh. So the point you're making is such a interesting point and valid point because you know it doesn't take much to see that we are driven, like this whole thing was a orchestrated thing. And when I read this book by Matthias Desmet, so Dr. Matthias Desmet, he's written a book called Psychology of Totalitarianism. So he explains the whole totalitarian control, like how and the steps like mass formation, and then how they function, how the whole thing proceeds step by step. And going back and forth, the whole COVID drama, like how they went back and forth, like creating the lockdown one and then lockdown two, and then the virus transforming the whole thing. And he brings in the whole science model, like what is really science, and then explaining that how it is not what you think it is, how the researchers are funded, how you are all victims of funded research. Like a very naive example for this is like a Horlicks advertisement, like a doctor of someone wearing this coat of a doctor, white coat, and they are saying Horlicks, yes, you can drink, and we recommend Horlicks for diabetic patients or for kids or anything. So they're not real doctors, right? So but that ad sits in your mind, and when you go to supermarket you pick up. So this is all subliminal conditioning, so you're conditioned.
Actually, I saw a reel recently that the creator talks about this book called Crazy Like Us. And this is exactly how the American mental problems were completely exported throughout the world. So they wanted to make sure everybody became crazy like Americans. So in Japan, there was this long social experiment where they would hire actors to, act like they are either depressed, and like I think in some of the Japanese material, the word depression, there is like a sudden hike in the usage of the word depression. So to make sure to convince the populace that they are actually depressed and everybody is depressed, so you have to take depression medicine. So this entire thing is based on constantly questioning your own identity, questioning your own ways, questioning your own tradition, and then going for something that is very shiny. As Tyagaraja Swami says, Chakkani Rajamargam.
Yeah, yeah, Chekkani Rajamargam. Yeah, yeah. See, this depression, I want to stay with this for some time because, if you have time, we'll continue for some
Sure,
more
sure.
time. So, see, depression is a very technical word, coined by the psychological, whatever the field of psychology. And people started correlating their emotions or whatever state as depression. So you start to correlation. See, there is no depression. See, who knows depression? See, in Sanskrit we have something called a tivra dukkha or dirgha dukkha. Dirgha dukkha is a dukkha for length of time. Like I hurt my leg or while running or something, and that pain stays for 2 days. So I'm sad for one day. Immediately when I fell down, some pain is there. So that's just a normal dukkha. But a demise of a closed one, or some ailment, like a long term ailment, someone is diagnosed with something, like my dear one. So this kind of gives you some tivra dukkha, some dirgha dukkha. It's going to, you're going to deal with it for some time. And uh, and as we have no know-how, like how to deal with this, like to become rich. So know-how, we don't know how to become rich. So kid is not taught, like kid doesn't get this by birth. So you adapt to this, to society, and then you try to ape what rich people did, and then you kind of have this you work the same thing you do in your life, and you try to become rich. So like Warren Buffett, what has he done? So let me do that.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. So in every field, it's like that. So even Sanskrit or any field, you fake it and you make it, and then here also, we don't have any know-how like how to deal with this situation. And as you said, the rise of this the terms of psychology, so psychological terms. Oh, I have so Roger McFillan says there's a TikTok diagnosis. So this TikTok diagnosis became very famous. So people would just see TikTok. Okay, are you feeling like this checklist? So there's a checklist. Okay, are you feeling like this, and are you feeling like this? So there are 4 5 checklists where you diagnose someone with ADHD or depression or whatever depression disorder. So this depression is a term which almost many pick up. So when they're hit with some situation in life, they just say they're depressed, but they're not. So this is what Jordan Peterson. So you might know Jordan Peterson. So Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about it. He says that 90% of people who come to me or go to a psychologist, 90% have no problem. It's just that they are hit with 2 3 catastrophes at once. At once. And then the reaction which comes in your head, you're not able to deal with it. You don't know what it is. Because since child you're thinking everything is so rosy, you'll live forever, everyone will be the same, and then you're not hit with a situation. So you're hit with 2 3 at a time. So you have your something happens to you, and then your loved one, and then profession, 3 4 areas of life, or suddenly your girlfriend dumps you or something, and then 3 2 3 at a time. Then it's a terror. So you are terrorized, and then you don't know how to deal with it. So this fellow rushes to a psychologist, and then the psychologist, if it's someone like Jordan Peterson, so this fellow knows that, oh, इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं है, बस is hit by life. And then in time most of them will solve. Like the same situation with Arjuna also. Like Arjuna, who's so confident, such a best archer in the world, tells Krishna, oh, go place my chariot in between the battlefield, I will see on both sides. और देखता है इधर उधर, देखता है, बैठ जाता है, ये सब मर जाने वाले हैं, मैं मर जाने वाला हूँ. Like that his sons are also there, his family is there on that side, his cousins are there, they're all going to die. And it says, Guru na hatva himanubavan shreyo bhoktum bhaikshyamapi haloke. I'm ready to beg to become a sadhu. I don't want to fight and kill my own people, my own teacher, my own pitama. I don't want to kill. So yeah, Arjuna is also terrorized. And then when someone is terrorized, so you don't need, so necessarily the resort is not with respect to psychology. As Swami Dayanandji would say, that psychology has no solution. Vedanta has no problem. So I would say psychology में क्या करता है, especially this psychoanalysis, they kind of shift the blame to mom and dad. Okay, mom and dad are fighting, so mom and dad are fighting,
Can you hear me? I think you just froze.
There's something wrong with my Wi-Fi, I think. One second. I'm just trying with my mobile data. Yeah. Recording in progress. So it is just shifting the blame. I mean, it's not a wrong thing to do, but but the parents are not really responsible for being who they are. So they were also children at some point, and then they had their own battle to fight, and then they are a time bound. They are going to go away one day.
What really worries me exactly in this entire business and industry of psychoanalysis, clinical psychology, is that how it is. I'm pretty sure, like clinical psychology, on its own, is a very, very serious practice, but it's kind of how it is publicized, where you see a lot of this clinical psychology has been used in telling a lot of tales and movies and cinema and series are being used where the model is that you see a clinical psychologist, at least in these in the entertainment business, and you see how the entire the clinical every clinical psychologist is basically selling you your narcissism. Oh, you are not the problem. People who you are a victim of your circumstances. I'm pretty sure a serious clinical psychology session doesn't go like this. I'm pretty sure they're far more, but people have this understanding, oh, basically something is not, because I've seen it on a movie, right? So the actor must be telling the truth. That if I'm having a lot of problems, I'm pretty sure other people are um, responsible for it. Let me just go to a clinical psychologist and let them validate this claim. And then it becomes a constant loop of, oh yeah, you come, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. You come and give me the fees, and I will tell you what are the things not wrong with you and how everybody else is responsible for your demise.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's just crazy to see the like how you are saying the chain of how that whole thing manifests, like how their control is like that. They have their pockets in the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry, like especially Netflix, is so like we see how they kind of promote these ideas, like these issues, and also this, whatever,
Also, clinical
the
psychology is
left.
one of the most fertile grounds for doing politics. Most of it's just like economics. Economics is nothing but a lot of, you see all the Nobel prizes that has been given in the field of economics. They only favor a certain kind of political lean in their policies. Only they will get the award. Same with clinical psychology as well, or
Yeah.
journalism. Max's award, this award, that award. If you the more kind of narratives you spread about our own political ideology will be awarded. And there is no reason to not believe that clinical psychologists will not make it, because they have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to go to Harvard and get a degree. And finally, they have to, they also have a student loan to pay. So they have to do something to get it back. So why not? I think this entire thing started with Freud. I think he was really the master, like the first person to I mean, I don't know how people even fell for something like Freud, so stupid as
Pitama.
Freud. Oh God, yeah, Pitamaha, exactly.
So yeah, it's so sometimes it saddens me to see this kind of things. How people are kind of trapped by the mainstream, and it's sad to see that how people's lives are lost. So like if you see in Sanatan Dharma, the main focus is on Purusharth. It's rather than reacting to what goes on in your life, but focusing on what I want to achieve. So they say make haven sunshines. So 30 to 50 is one such phase of life where you predominantly focus on achieving whatever you want. So what saddens me is with this modern system, people who get diagnosed by type 2 diabetes at 28 or 30 because of whatever big food and this kind of vaccines, or and because of consumerism, in some way or other consumerism. So that diabetes which would come at 50 or post 45, 46, 50 or late 50s, which ends up, people end up getting that at 20s or late 30s, that, and this blood pressure, kidney failure, fatty liver, etc., which you're not supposed to deal with between 30 to 50. because your genetics is fine. Your dad never had that, your mom never had that, your grandparents never had that, not their parents. So it's not about the genetics, it's more about consumerism. Like what you consume is dictated from the top. And then that has led to this experimental era we are living in where you don't know what you're going to be ending up having. And then if you end up having like that, that whole Purushartha Kala, is ruined for you. That what you're supposed to live life and achieve what you want in that limited period you got. We don't have unlimited time, right? So 50 to 60 is more of aging and dealing with the ailments. So that's that time. But that has preponed and creeped in our 30s. So you're dealing with your health. So that's not how it's supposed to be. So this is what saddens me, that Purushartha Yogya Ayogya Bhavati. So once you are hit with that kind of thing, no, even though it's never too late to pick ourselves up. So as Bhagavan Krishna says, Uddhared Atman Atman, you pick yourself up. It's never too late. So even diabetes, I kind of am trained to reverse, like to give a lifestyle or diet with which you can even reverse. Not having an HbA1c of 6, but even 5.5. So we know how to get it down. But one should see at least hope. But once one is diagnosed, one becomes kind of a hopeless state, at least for that 1 or 2 years, whatever. And then one starts that let loose. Okay, चलो कैसा भी मरने है तो चलो खा लेंगे ये कर लेंगे वो कर लेंगे घूम लेंगे. So that's not a purushartha, oriented person. So
Mhm.
this what is is a problematic thing. And if things these kind of ailments prepone, and then the next generation is going to miss out the main phase of their life.
Mhm. Yeah, I think a bad diet and fast food consumption of things which are mass produced, like say McDonald's, that has become like an aspiration model. So, for example, if somebody who gets married, say 2 3 in 2 3 years, and now they have a child, and they have worked so hard to get a well-paying job, and they know a good way to spend this money is to go to McDonald's, so they are taking their kids as well. So something that they started ruining their health maybe after 20s or something, but the child with them right now is exposed to bad food from the age of 3, isn't it?
Correct.
So of course the ailments are also going to have a kickstart before they start expressing. And secondly, if you have manas, manovikar will definitely happen, isn't it? In Bhagavad Pada says manovikaram is basically daurgandhyam aupadikam. In Chandana, when you have daurgandha, that is actually aupadikam. But if you do some nigharshanam, then the sugandham, which is the swabhavikam, it will come out on its own. So if you have manas and if it's exposed to external stimuli, you are gonna have manovikaram for sure. Okay, you should know that these are temporary. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. One today this problem will go, another problem tomorrow will come. I cannot let myself engrossed in this entire thing and find some a quick fix in a bucket of French fries.
Yep, yep. That's a very right thing. And as you see, like our ancestral diet and all, I know that it had elements like consuming too much carbs and all, but we don't have this habit of consuming like a liter of sugar water while eating. Which you see, you go to McDonald's, like I love to have Coke. So not now, but 4 5 years back. So when I would go out, not at home, but go out, I would watch a movie. So I would have this large Coke with me.
Mm, I think I lost you.
I'm shocked that how I could even drink so much Coke.
Mm. Yeah, I think my father was very strict regarding this. So we were allowed one Coke a year, the whole year. One. So my
Wow.
sister is a great fan of Thumbs Up. So only on Deepavali we were allowed one bottle of Thumbs
Okay.
Up, and other than that, he was very very strict. I
That's a
think he
good cheat day
hated
per year. So
everything
that
that is yeah. So I mean, both my father and mother they wanted to impose this regimented lifestyle. So my mother was
okay.
extremely strict. Like I think of it, it's like days of horror for me. How she used to behave with me publicly if I did something wrong. There was no sparing at all. No sparing at all. And thank God for that. To be honest, thank God for that. I think so. I
See,
remember
it's like
once.
see, it's a two-edged sword. It's like that kind of parenting is like a two-edged sword. Like क्योंकि हमारा see, to teach us something. See, actions are more powerful than words. So एक थप्पड़ पड़ गया or yeah, something like this. So that अकलमंद को इशारा काफी है. But इधर
Oh, no,
बच्चे
no.
को
She used
कभी
to
कभी
lock us out of the house. So she would send
ओके
us both out and she would lock herself in the house. And then you see the entire neighborhood passing by and you're so embarrassed. That means you have done something so wrong that your mom doesn't want to see to it. It was quite extreme, I think. But I remember one day there was we
yeah,
went we there were, I think that these half yearly exams that used to happen, and then I did a bit bad, worse than it was in the quarterly exam. So she went to the teacher. She took the and the teacher said, "Oh, this time his rank is one less than what he was last time." And then she took the report card and then she left it on the table and she just left the classroom. And I was in third standard, so 7, 8 years old, and that it just sinks you down, but it teaches you so much of a valuable lesson that you cannot. There are a lot of people who are counting on you. Okay, you do not have a very privileged life, so you better buck up. If you want to change your life for better.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we are right now even
I think
conditioned that
that
oh,
was
we cannot put our children through these kind of. It's a like a guillotine or almost a social guillotine. Sorry, yeah, please continue.
yeah. So it's like something like shock swimming. So instead of learning like step by step, तो बच्चे को फेंक दो पानी में, बच्चा खुद figure out कर लेगा.
Yeah.
So this is a bit harsh, but I think
Effective, very
I think
effective.
that help that has its own.
Yeah, time proven. Very, it has stood the
Yeah. Time proven.
test of time.
Yeah. So any last thing, Mukunji, we can end. You can share some thoughts, or that's it.
Well, share some thoughts. I think I first of all I had a great time speaking with you. I'm a great fan of your work,
Yeah.
as you know. I really
And thank you very
admire.
much. And see, I had a doubt. How do you know Telugu?
My Tamil teacher is actually a Telugu. So he used to teach Tamil in Telugu
Wow.
in the group class. So I picked up a bit of Telugu. Yeah. I can't speak very fluently, but I understand. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Nice.
yeah, I'm really great admirer of you, and it's really like a idol for me. I would like to become as knowledgeable as you are one day. Um,
Likewise, हम भी आपका वर्क बहुत अच्छा है. Like I'm just a fan of your page, a beautiful tree, and I want people to subscribe to your page and learn and then expose your kids to this content of Mukunji.
it's very kind of you, very kind of you, and same for your page as well. You may grow, in bounds and bounds, and may Bhagavan, shower bounties of blessings upon you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank
Dhanyawad.
you.
Thank
Pranam.
you so much.